Good morning and welcome. It's Corporate Governance Platform brought to you by the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria, ICSAN. I am Funmi Omoburiwo. ICSAN is a leading recognized professional body in Nigeria which is dedicated to enhancing the status and practice of corporate governance and public administration. Today on the program, we want to look at independent non-executive directors and concept of objectivity. Our guest this morning is Mr. Oluseyi Abiodun, FCIS, former chairman of Oyo State Chapter of ICSAN. Good morning, Mr. Abiodun.
Good morning. Good morning, Fumi.
All right.
And thanks for having me. And let me also use this opportunity to wish the Eco FM team a very rewarding year 2023.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Abiodun. Wish you same. And with me in the studio is Mr. Kaide Ketefe, FCIS, Head of Research, ICSAN. Good morning, Mr. Ketefe.
Good morning, Fumi. Good morning to you, our guest, Mr. Oluseyi Abiodun, FCIS, and all our team listeners. Good morning to you and Happy New Year.
All right, Happy New Year to each and everyone listening. We're going to take this message and we'll be right back.
The world is constantly evolving into a knowledge-based economy where skills and competencies constitute the lifeblood of public and corporate governance. You therefore need to empower yourself to fit into this new world by gaining basic knowledge and improving your skill set in the governance-focused disciplines. That is why every aspiring as well as practicing professional in governance field needs ICSAN.
ICSAN. What is ICSAN?
ICSAN is a leading statutorily established professional body dedicated to enhancing the status and practice of corporate governance and public administration. ICSAN members are trained as chartered secretaries and administrators.
Who are chartered secretaries and administrators?
Chartered secretaries are high-ranking governance professionals with a broad base of skills, unique amongst other professions. They are trained in law, finance, accounting, administration, strategy development, and corporate governance. In today's world, chartered secretaries and administrators discharge a wide range of duties and responsibilities, including functioning as chairmen of companies, executive directors, non-executive directors, company secretaries, risk managers, compliance managers, board evaluators, and corporate governance evaluators.
That is interesting. How then do I become a chartered secretary and administrator?
Good. Go to the Institute's website, www.icsan.org. You can also visit the National Secretariat of ICSAN at Plot 6, Elephant Cement Way, Alausa, Ikeja, Lagos, to get full information on how to become members. ICSAN, the hub of governance professionals.
All right, ICSAN, definitely the hub of governance professionals. Like I said earlier, we're looking at independent non-executive directors and concept of objectivity. And Mr. Abiodun, let's begin this way. Who are the independent non-executive directors and how are they different from just non-executive directors?
Well, thank you once again. Thank you very much. Well, to start with, there are two keywords here. The word independent and the other one non-executive directors. But let's set aside the word independent for now and let's talk about the non-executive director, and I'll come back to that shortly. Well, just like you have the executives who, basically officers of the company, the non-executive directors too, they are officers of the company, they are trustees of the company, and they owe the company what we call a fiduciary duty. That is the duty of care. So having said that, the non-executive directors, they perform what I would call an oversight function. So they check the activities of the executives to ensure that they actually align with the corporate goals and strategy or strategic direction of the company. They don't get involved in the day-to-day activities of the company. They don't get involved in the day-to-day running of the company, as far as the executive running of the company is concerned, but they need to ensure that the activities of the executives are in consonance, are in alignment with the strategic goals and the direction of the company. That is exactly who the non-executive directors are. And then having said that, let's say, for instance, you are an investor. You are an investor, for instance.
Okay.
You know, as an investor, part of your due diligence is to check the composition of the board of a particular company before you, employ your finance resources. Because as a business person, you want to maximize return. That is basically why you are in business. So in this case now, you need to check who are the promoters of this company. You need to check whether they have strength and the background, whether they have the experience to actually drive the company to the El Dorado. So basically, these are who the non-executive directors are. Then let's come back to the independent director or independent non-executive director. Mm-hmm. The independent director is also a non-executive director. They have no pecuniary or beneficial interest in the company, but they have been employed solely for the best interest of the company. And of course, they have to ensure that there is good corporate governance practice in the company. So basically, that is who the independent non-executive directors are. And that, again, you don't want a director that is tied to the apron of the chairman or the apron of the managing director because of ephemeral interest. Mm-hmm. You want a balanced board. You want officers of the company. You want directors that can give a very, very independent and fresh perspective, honest feedback, fair appraisal of how the company is performing. And that is who the independent non-executive directors are supposed to be. So basically, that is it.
All right, let's talk about benefits. What benefits the independent non-executive directors bring to an organization?
Well, as mentioned earlier on, there are so many benefits, or let me just say value propositions of having independent non-executive director in the board. So number one, they provide independent counsel to the chairman and to the managing director. Look at that word, independent counsel to the chairman and to the managing director. You know, if you want to hear the truth, you need to engage someone that can tell you the truth without minding whether he's losing or gaining anything. And that is one of the attributes of someone who is called an independent director. They provide independent counsel to the chairman and the managing director. And then also, they have to ensure that the board is operating within the risk appetite or within the risk management framework of the organization. As agreed by the board. You know, these days we have what we call insolvency, because companies are engaging in activities that is outside their risk appetite. And you know, there is a saying that if you bite more than you can chew, you definitely get yourself into trouble. So basically, the independent non-executive director are to ensure that the board is operating within the risk appetite and the risk management framework as agreed by the board. That is very, very, very vital. And they also need to provide an expert and independent view, for the smooth running of the organization and some good boardroom practices. So basically, that is what an independent non-executive director is. Those are the value proposition and those are the benefits, accrued benefits they bring to bear on the board.
All right, so let's flip it. The consequences of not having independent non-executive directors on board.
Come again? I didn't get that.
I said, what are the likely consequences? We've looked at the benefits, the values they bring in. Let's flip it to the other side. The likely consequences of not having independent non-executive directors on board.
The consequences of not having the independent non-executive director on the board. Okay, as I've highlighted earlier on, I've tried to mention the benefits, the values that the non-executive directors can bring to the board. But beyond that, we have some board committees, which are nomination. We have nomination, audit committee, governance and remuneration committee. And naturally, for effective performance of these committees, they need to be headed by people that are very, very experienced. They need to be headed by independent non-executive directors so that you can have a very, very effective board. So for you to achieve an efficient and effective boardroom, engagement, you need an independent director or independent directors to be at the helms of these committees, and that is very, very important. So effectively, what I'm saying is that the consequences of not having the independent and executive directors in any board is such that you are toying with, ineffectiveness, and that is a very, 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 a deal for concern. So, in other words, if you want a very, very effective board, you need independent, non-executive directors to be at the helms of these strategic committees, because these committees are actually what I will call the vital organ of the company. So, and that is one of the main reasons why you have the independent directors at the helms of these committees.
All right. So what do you think is the rationale behind the provision that the board should annually ascertain and confirm
the line is breaking.
Okay, can you hear me?
The line is breaking.
Can you hear me now? Is it better? Hello?
Hello, I can't hear you.
Okay, I guess I'll try to reestablish that connection. But Mr. Ketefe, in the meantime, does ICSAN have a database of independent non-executive directors from which you can recommend to organizations looking for INEDs?
Thank you very much for that question. The answer to that is a straight yes. The Institute maintains a database of competent and resourceful professionals who may serve on board of numerous organizations as independent non-executive directors. This database that I'm talking of is very rich, being constantly reviewed, to being constantly updated, and very robust. And one of the reasons for that is that every member of the institute, by virtue of his or her training, is a potential independent non-executive director. So we have a lot of resources to draw from. Over the years, many companies and organizations have reached out to the institute to help them to source for independent non-executive directors. And of course, the institute has always been helping out on this. That have always made available to them quality resources. Therefore, I will also use this opportunity to call on organizations who are intending to recruit independent non-executive directors to consult ICSAN. They will be happy to partner with the institute on this project.
All right, thank you, Mr. Kaudi Ketefe, as Head of Research, ICSAN. Mr. Abiodun, can you hear me very well now?
The line is breaking.
Okay, is it still breaking?
Okay, I think I can hear you now.
Oh, okay, great. The question I asked was the rationale behind the provision that the board should annually ascertain and confirm the continued independence of... Can you hear me? It's still breaking? Okay, I guess...
let me
maybe Mr. Ketefe can
let me
come in there.
The rationale behind that provision is that when you look at independence, it's not something that is permanent. You can be independent today and lose the independence tomorrow.
Okay.
You know, a number of factors determine independence. The issue of collecting additional fee from the organization apart from your fee as a non-executive director, the issue of having any kind of costing relationship with the board. Maybe you have spent many years on the board. The code stipulates 9 years as the maximum you can spend before you are adjudged not to be independent again. Okay. So the issue of independence is a dynamic thing. You can have it today, you can lose it tomorrow. That is why the code provides that. There should be annual evaluation to ascertain the authenticity of independence. That's the reason why the code made that provision.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Ketefe, for at least, coming to my rescue right there. Okay. Do we have any announcements? Oh, there's no announcement for today. Okay, great.
We will have all announcement next week.
Okay. All right. Still in the holiday mode, and so we still say Happy New Year to each and everyone listening, all our listeners and everybody. Happy New Year, and of course, it's going to be a great year. Thank you to our guest, Mr. Oluseyi Abiodun, FCIS, former chairman of Oyo State chapter of ICSAN. Although the network was went bad at some point, but at least we were still able to share from his well of knowledge this morning. And thank you to you also, Mr. Kayode Ketefe, FCIS, Head of Research, ICSAN. And that's our bit this morning on Corporate Governance Platform, brought to you by the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria, ICSAN. I am Funmi Omoburiu. The program returns 10:15 a.m. next Wednesday, same station. Have yourselves a blessed day. Good morning and welcome. It's Corporate Governance Platform, brought to you by the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria, ICSAN. I am Funmi Omoburiu. Today we want to look at the concept of balance of skills and diversity on the board. But let me remind you that ICSAN is a leading recognized professional body in Nigeria that's dedicated to enhancing the status and practice of corporate governance and public administration. I guess this morning to help us the discuss this morning on concept of balance of skills and diversity on the board is Mr. David DAUDA, ACIS. Good morning, Mr. DAUDA.
Good morning.
All right, thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you.
All right, with me also in the studio is Mr. Kayode Ketefe, FCIS, Head of Research, ICSAN. Good morning, Mr. Ketefe.
Good morning, Funmi. Good morning to you, our guest, Mr. David DAUDA, ACIS, and good morning to you all our listeners.
All right, so we're going to take this message and we'll be right back.
The world is constantly evolving into a knowledge-based economy where skills and competencies constitute the lifeblood of public and corporate governance. You therefore need to empower yourself to fit into this new world by gaining basic knowledge and improving your skill set in the governance-focused disciplines. That is why every aspiring as well as practicing professional in governance field needs ICSAN.
ICSAN. What is ICSAN?
ICSAN is a leading statutorily established professional body dedicated to enhancing the status and practice of corporate governance and public administration. ICSAN members are trained as chartered secretaries and administrators.
Who are chartered secretaries and administrators?
Chartered secretaries are high-ranking governance professionals with a broad base of skills, unique amongst other professions. They are trained in law, finance, accounting, administration, strategy development, and corporate governance. In today's world, chartered secretaries and administrators discharge a wide range of duties and responsibilities, including functioning as chairmen of companies, executive directors, non-executive directors, company secretaries, risk managers, compliance managers, board evaluators, and corporate governance evaluators.
That is interesting. How then do I become a chartered secretary and administrator?
Good. Go to the Institute's website, www.icsan.org. You can also visit the National Secretariat of ICSAN at Plot 6, Elephant Cement Way, Alausa, Ikeja, Lagos, to get full information on how to become members. ICSAN, the hub of governance professionals.
All right, ICSAN, definitely the hub of governance professionals. All right, Mr. DAUDA, as I said earlier, we're looking at concept of balance of skills and diversity on the board. Of course, the code on corporate governance referred to two terms as necessary in board composition, and these are balance of skills and diversity. So I want you to expatiate on the meaning of these terms.
Thank you very much. The two terms that the code refer to, balance of skills and then diversity on the board. Balance of skills is referred to, according to the code, membership of the board should comprise of individuals with knowledge, skills, experience, and independence necessary to undertake the governance role of the board and responsibility of the board. Why diversity on the other hand? Membership of the board should cut across variety of attributes. Mark that word, variety of attributes, such as knowledge, skills, experience, age, culture, and gender, to promote better decision and effective governance.
All right, so looking at the notion of board structure and composition, let's look at, in deeper context, why it's so important in the context of corporate governance.
Thank you. Board composition and board structure is very, very important because we are looking at decision makers. So the composition of the board will enhance better decision making, and the composition of the board will automatically reflect in the quality of decisions of the board.
Okay, great. Now, can there be a recommended ideal size or specification for a board structure that companies may adopt?
Okay, according to the code, Corporate Governance Code 2018, it did not specifically make mention of size, the size, but it do say that the board should comprise of sufficient, should be made up of sufficient size that is necessary to undertake and fulfill the business of the company, to monitor, to oversee, to direct, to control the business activities of the board. In other words, the size of the board should be commensurate to the size of the company. You will agree with me that a company with branches all over Africa cannot have the same size of the board as a company who is operating in one room apartment in Victoria Island or in a Lagos Island.
Okay. So basically, it has to do with the size of the company as a whole.
Yes.
Okay, great. Now, what are some specific advantages if an organization gets its board composition and structure right?
Okay. The advantages of well-organized, well-composed, well-structured board cannot be overemphasized. I will say that the benefits, one, it will result in better decision making, which will in turn reflect in the profit of the organization, the result of the company as a whole, and it will also reflect in better strategic planning and direction of the company, better strategies and policies that results in profit and sustainability of the company in the long run.
There is a particular term that it's called shadow directorship, which the code prohibits. What does this mean, and why does the code prohibit it?
Okay, shadow directorship is what I called, in my own words, the cabal in the political setting, but in the corporate setting is called the shadow director, which a person who is not a member of the board influences and dominates the decisions of the board. The code specifically states that a person or group of persons should not, who are not members of the board, should not influence or dominate the decision of the board. This is because the person may not be acting in the best interest of the company. The person does not have authority to bind the company. The person does not lack the protection of a statutory director. And in most cases, the person is faced with personal liabilities when the company fails.
Okay. All right. And let's look at the reason for the code recommendation that prospective directors should disclose memberships on other boards, and current directors should notify the board of prospective appointments on other boards.
Okay, thank you. The code specifically states that before you are appointed to a board, you should disclose your membership of other board. This is necessary to avoid conflict of interest, to avoid the breach of confidentiality, to avoid the diversion of corporate opportunities, to avoid divergence of corporate informations. You will also agree with me that if you are a member of a board that of a company, the board of a company that produces sugar, company A. You are also a member of a board of a company that produces sugar, company B. If you are a member of those two boards, you cannot at the same time be loyal to the two. At one point or the other, you will have to disclose information of either company A to company B or company B, vice versa. So that is why the code specifically states that before you become a member of the board, you should disclose your other directorship of other companies, so that to avoid conflict of interest.
Okay, great. Now, what advice do you have for corporate entities on the issue of a balance of skills on the board?
Okay, for me, corporate entities is the life wire of any developing economy. And for them to strive, there should be better decisions. And for there to be better decisions, there should be an effective board. There cannot be an effective board when there is no balance of skills and diversity on the board. So I will advise corporate entities to ensure a good structure and composed board that will reflect balance of skill and diversity, which will in turn translate into better decisions, which will result into better profit and sustainability of the company in the long run. Thank you.
All right, great. Thank you, Mr. David DAUDA. All right, Mr. Ketefe, I'm sure we have an announcement.
Thank you very much for me. The first announcement we have today is on the ICSAN Train the Trainer event. This is to inform ICSAN members, other governance professionals, and members of the public generally that the much awaited ICSAN Train the Trainer certification program is scheduled to hold on Thursday, January 26, 2023. This program aims at training professionals on governance matters to prepare them for training others on skills and knowledge acquisition in the field of corporate governance. The time for this event is 10 a.m. The accomplished governance professionals that have been earmarked as facilitators for this program are Dr. Adeyinka Hassan, FCIS, and Mrs. Burahima Anastasia, FCIS. The participation fee is 20,000 naira for members and 25,000 naira for non-members. Certificates will be issued to all participants. For more information on this, please call OGG on 080 23 78 3043. Call OGG on 080 23 78 3043. The second announcement is on the June 2023 ICSAN Professional Examination. This is to inform the existing and prospective students of ICSAN that the registration for June 2023 ICSAN Professional Examination has started. This is an opportunity for you to begin your journey to become a charter secretary and administrator, as well as a governance professional. For more information on ICSAN examination, please call Yinka on 080 90 660169. I take that again, 080 90 660169. You can also call Tope on 080 90 66 2203. 080 90 66 2203. Thank you and have a wonderful day.
All right, thank you, Mr. Kaide Ketefe, FCIS, Head of Research, ICSAN, and also our guest, Mr. David DAUDA, ACIS. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you very much.
All right, and that's how we'll wrap it up this morning on this week's edition of Corporate Governance Platform, brought to you by the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria, ICSAN. We'll return again next week, Wednesday, 10:15 a.m., right here on Equator 9.7 FM. I am Funmi Omoburi. Enjoy the rest of the day.
The world is constantly evolving into a knowledge-based economy where skills and competencies constitute the lifeblood of public and corporate governance. You therefore need to empower yourself to fit into this new world by gaining basic knowledge and improving your skill set in the governance-focused disciplines. That is why every aspiring as well as practicing professional in governance field needs ICSAN.
ICSAN. What is ICSAN?
ICSAN is a leading statutorily established professional body dedicated to enhancing the status and practice of corporate governance and public administration. ICSAN members are trained as chartered secretaries and administrators.
Who are chartered secretaries and administrators?
Chartered secretaries are high-ranking governance professionals with a broad base of skills, unique amongst other professions. They are trained in law, finance, accounting, administration, strategy development, and corporate governance. In today's world, chartered secretaries and administrators discharge a wide range of duties and responsibilities, including functioning as chairmen of companies, executive directors, non-executive directors, company secretaries, risk managers, compliance managers, board evaluators, and corporate governance evaluators.
That is interesting. How then do I become a chartered secretary and administrator?
Good. Go to the Institute's website, www.icsan.org. You can also visit the National Secretariat of ICSAN at Plot 6, Elephant Cement Way, Alausa, Ikeja, Lagos, to get full information on how to become members. ICSAN, the hub of governance professionals.